Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. In today's class, we will be seeing about type conversion. And type conversion, in other words, we call it as typecasting. And let us see what is type conversions and what is typecasting in Python, so that we will be able to understand how important typecasting and type conversion is in data analysis. So let me write a type conversion. Type conversion. In technical terms, we have another name for it. We call it as casting in Python. So in today's class, we're going to understand about type conversion, typecasting in Python. Okay. Now, before I step into what is typecasting or what is casting in Python, I would love to give you one small line so that you'll be able to understand and get one brief understanding about what is this casting. Casting means, I would say that casting means changing the shape of the data, changing the shape of data so Python can understand it the way we want. So that Python can understand the way we want. I will give you one more example so that you will be able to understand more in detail. Changing the data from one format to another format. We call it as typecasting. Or we can also call it as type conversion. Type conversion. Now, I would give you one real-time example so that you will be able to understand more in detail. Say, for example, we have a 10 rupee coin. We have 10 rupee coins, like we have 10 rupee coins, like 10 coins. So carrying 10 rupee coins in 10 in numbers, that would be a huge thing. Say, for example, changing the 10 rupee coins into a currency note. The money remains the same, but it is easier for us to use it in shop, right? So I would say that still it is money, but easier to use in shop. Say, for example, you're having 10 coins of 10 rupees, 10 rupee coin with 10 numbers. Carrying this 10 rupee coin with 10 numbers is little cumbersome. Instead of that, you can exchange the 10 rupee coin 10 numbers into one single note, 100 rupee note. That is easier for us to carry. But at the same time, the money value remains the same, but only the coin is being changed to note. That is how I can compare type conversion or typecasting in Python. Another beautiful example what I can give you here is changing handwritten notes into typed text. Okay, this is the notes remains the same. It is the same meaning, but in the typed text, it is easier to read. It is easier to read. So now you should be able to get one fair understanding about what is typecasting or type conversion in Python. Typecasting means changing the shape of the data so Python can understand it the way we want, or we can say that changing the data from one format to another format, we call it as typecasting or type conversion. Now, why do we need this one in the first place for a data analysis? That is very important. If we don't have the why answered, it will be difficult for us to understand and learn why do we have to learn and get to know the examples of type conversion. So the next topic what I would give you here is, I would say, why do we need type conversion or typecasting in data analysis. So let us see the real time usage or real time need. Why do we need this type conversion or typecasting in data analysis? Predominantly, you should understand all data analysts will be working with Excel files, CSV files, and Google Forms. So let's take this one without any delay. When we work with the data, predominantly we will be working with the Excel files, we will be working with the CSV files, or we will be working with Google Forms. So these are the place where we have data, and the data resides in Excel, CSV, and Google Forms. And the next thing here is, in this particular Excel, in this particular CSV file, or in Google Forms, numbers sometimes come as a text strings. Numbers sometimes come as a text strings. Text, it might come as, numbers might come as a text, or it might come as a strings. So we should be in a position, we should change this numbers whatever we have received, we should be changing it to the numbers. Only then we would be able to do some mathematical operations to it. So we must convert the numbers into the we must convert the numbers which is come in the text or strings into number format. So we must convert them to numbers. We must convert them to numbers for mathematical operations. Say, for example, if we have received a data where the data value is 50, instead of 50, if it is written rupee 50, then it is treated as a text. So in that case, we should be turning that day number value into, which is in the text or string format, into an actual number. Okay, the next reason why we have to use a type conversion in data analysis is dates. Most of the time, this is very, very important. Dates, whatever the date we are having, 22 August, today's date 2025, might come in our data analysis as text. So we should be in a position to convert the date, whatever we are getting it in the text, into the right date format. For that also we need a date. For that also we need type conversion or typecasting. So we must convert this date which is come in the text into a date type only, so that we can sort the dates or filter the dates. If the date is remaining as a text, we cannot do these operations. And one more reason why we have to use typecasting or type conversion data analysis is that, say for example, in the data in the real world, we have a lot of answers that we might receive in yes or no. Are you an active user? Sometimes it might be yes, sometimes it might be no. Is the subscription paid? Sometimes the answer would be yes, sometimes the answer would be no. So we want this yes or no to be converted into a right format. So to convert this data, we need type conversion. So we may convert them to, this yes would be converted into true, and the no would be converted into false. So this is where we will be using typecasting in data analysis. First thing, we wanted the data that is coming to data analyst would be from Excel file, CSV file, or Google Forms, or even others places also we might get the data. And sometimes when we are working with the data, number sometimes comes as a text or strings, and we have to make some mathematical operation. So we have to convert these numbers into the right number format. It should not remain as a text or string. For that purpose, we use type conversion or typecasting. The next very important thing here is, in data analysis, we will be predominantly working on dates. Sometimes the dates would arrive as a text or as a string. We should be converting that text or string into data type, so that we can sort or filter and do a lot of operations on the date. And we might also receive yes or no for a particular response from a customer or a feedback. So this yes or no should be converted into a right data format. We use this yes to be converted into true and no to be converted as false. For this purpose, we need a type conversion or typecasting in data analysis. So what are the different typecasting and different type conversions available in Python, so that we will be using that in our future projects? We have four main conversions. We have four main conversions. What are those four main conversions? First conversion, we call it as an integer conversion, where you give, when you using this typecasting integer conversion, you can make whole numbers. Anything you give into this integer typecasting, it will convert that into a whole number. Whole numbers, you can see like this: 125 and 100, 125 and 100. So integer, the first main conversions, type conversions we have is integer type conversion, where this integer type conversions, you pass in any numerical value. It could be float, it could be any other thing. It will try to convert that data into a whole number, and you can get the whole numbers like this. The second most important type conversions in Python, we call it as float, wherein this float type conversion, it will convert anything into a decimal number, makes a decimal numbers. So decimal numbers could be 1.5, 25, 25.0, 25.0, and 100.75. All these are float type conversions. So when you want to have your data converted into a float data type, you can make use of this float type conversion. Float makes decimal numbers. And then you wanted any other, the third important type conversion, we call it as a string type conversion, wherein this one changed anything you are trying to give into this string type conversion, it will translate that into a text. It will translate that into a text and give it to you. So text or string data in Python is represented as in double quotes or in single quotes. Even numerical data you write inside double quotes or a single quotes, Python will still treat that as a string. Okay. Now the last important type conversions what we have is called as bool type conversions, where it will help us to convert the data into either true or false. Remember, these are the only type conversions that we have. Type conversions we have. So these type conversions are very, very useful in our data analysis project. So int is our one type conversion, float is another type conversion, string is one other type conversion, and bool is another type conversion. Integer type conversion converts all the numbers into integer numbers or whole numbers. Float conversion is a type conversion wherein it converts whatever the input you are trying to give, it will try to convert that into a decimal number. And string is a type conversion in Python wherein you give any data, it will try to convert that into a string data. Remember, in Python, anything you give inside single quotes or double quotes will be treated as a string data type. Now bool is another type conversion wherein it converts all our yes and no into true or false. So without any further delay, let's pick up some example and understand how these type conversions are used. Okay. So the first example, what I like to give you here is about, I am converting text into number. I'm converting the text data into a number data type. I'm converting the text data type into a number data type. Now let us proceed with this example. Now I am creating a variable. The variable name I am giving to it is quantity. And now I want to convert this into a number. If I want to convert this into a number, I need to use a int type conversion. Into this int type conversion, I can give any text. Text can be represented in single quotes or double quotes in Python. So inside single quotes or double quotes, I pass on this particular value 3. Now this text, whatever I have written inside double quotes or single quotes, becomes a numerical data or int type number 3. This is what we are trying to achieve. Now when we say print type of quantity, it will try to convert that number, that text data or string type into number, and it is stored in the format of numbers. Now we would see another example also. I would say that anything I am trying to convert the string type into number, I can say that the string type can be represented in Python using double quotes. So inside double quotes, I'm giving 99.5. This 99.5, I want to convert this into a number. So I'm storing it into a variable, price. I want to convert this into a float type conversion. So I am passing this entire 99.5, which is in double quotes, inside this float type conversion. What is it happening? It is converting this 99.5, which is present inside the double quotes, which is treated as a text. It turns into 99.5 as a number. And then what I'm trying to do here is print type of price, and then I could say that it is converted into float data type. Now what I will try to do, total is a variable that I'm trying to create. Quantity into price I am trying to do. Quantity into price I am trying to do, and later I'm trying to print the total. It is beautifully giving 298.5 as a result. Initially, the input what we have given was a string, which is placed inside a double quotes. Here we have given a string which is placed inside double quotes 99.5, and when we are trying to convert it, we are trying to do type conversion or typecasting, changing one data type into another data type. We are changing the text data type into, or string data type into, numbers using int and float type conversion or typecasting, and then we are able to get a meaningful answer. Now you should be having a question: why is this useful? Why do we have to use this one? Why is this useful? Now I want to answer this one because this is very important. When you download any sales sheet, when you download any sales related reports, that time Microsoft Excel often stores the numbers as text. So you need to convert before doing any operations. For that, you need this type conversions. So when you download a sales sheet, Excel often stores numbers as a text, stores numbers next as. You need to convert before adding them. This is why it is useful. Now let us see the next beautiful example. Now we want to convert. Initially we saw the first example here as, okay, we saw the first example here, converting the text into number. Now we will see another example where we are converting numbers into text, where we are converting numbers into text. This is also very useful. So let us take a look at it. Now, now let's say that we have a number. Number is usually stored in as it is. I'm creating a variable total and I'm assigning the value 298.5. After that one, I am trying to print that one. I am trying to print number, any number here. When you are giving it as it is, It is stored as number, a number only. So in this case, when I'm trying to type of total, I since it is a decimal number, I could say that it is stored as a float. It is getting stored as a float number in number format only it is. Now, for our better understanding, sometimes we have to change the number into a text. Where it is used, let me show you an example where I am using print total I'm trying to use. So when I'm printing the total, I want to use this string. I'm trying to convert the number whatever we are having, 298.5, into a string. So into a string I'm trying to convert. This is one way. When I'm trying to do that, it is getting converted into string. The number data is getting converted into string. But what is the reason for this conversion? Without this, can't we do it? Why do we have to convert this into a string? Say, for example, you want to add, or there is a reason that you want to add the rupee symbol before it. You want to add the rupee symbol before it. Now, when you're trying to add the rupee symbol, okay, here, let me put it. When I'm planning to do it here, you will get the rupee symbol with that string, with that particular data. So why do we have to change the number into a text? Sometimes we might need a place where we want the numbers to not be altered. It should be holding the same value. In that case, we would be using the number to be converted into a text. This is one classical example. Or we wanted to see another good example is using this print function. I'm using an f string, and here I'm using the total, and then I'm trying to place the rupee value, and then I wanted to have two decimal numbers. Right now it is 298.5, but I want to have two decimal numbers. In that case, I have told you in the last class, 0.2f if you are giving, it will give you two decimal numbers, and you're still having this particular value. The number is still a numerical data only. But where is it really useful? Say, for example, you wanted to generate some reports, and in the reports, you are seeing a text labels like rupees 298.50 instead of 298.5. That will not make any sense. For that reason, to make some meaningful reports, we wanted to give some good labels. So in that case, we will be converting the number into a text so that it will add some more value, and we will be making some meaningful reports. So let me say why this is useful, and where is it used. Reports generally need text labels. Agreed? Reports generally needs text labels, like this one. We want to have this rupee symbol, and 298.50 makes a very good appeal. Instead of just 298.5. So if you want to have meaningful labels given to your reports, you need this typecasting, which will try to convert your number into text. So what are the numbers that you are trying to convert into text? So the numbers are float numbers that you can convert into a string data type, so that we can use this one into our text labels in our reports. That is why we are using this one. The next important thing that we are going to learn here is we are going to learn something about cleaning. Why do we have to clean? And there is the next thing that we will be doing here is converting. This is where real world messy data comes in. We have to first do cleaning, and then we have to convert. And this is where our main intention of type conversion or typecasting comes into picture. Okay, now let me give you one classical example. Okay, this is one example. I am creating a variable raw. I'm creating a variable by name raw, and then I am creating a double quotes. Remember, anything you place inside double quotes, it will be treated as a string. It will be treated as a string. Next, I am trying to place 1 comma 299, 1 comma 299.00. So 1299.00 is a value. Okay. Remember this particular data, what you are seeing here, comes with the space, comes with the spaces, and it is also having that rupee symbol, and it is also having some comma, it is also having some comma. This is how you will be seeing this in the real world. Your price of any particular product, if you want to fetch, this is how the real challenge is. Now what you need to do here is, as a data analyst, if at all you want to operate or do some functionality or do some analysis on this data, first you need to clean the data and then make sure it is in a usable format. Only then you can make some calculations out of it. In the real world, data exists in this format. So let's do one thing. What we will do here is, I will use that particular, I will call the variable name. The variable name we are created is a raw. In that raw variable, I have a function. I have a function by name strip. I have a function by name strip. What is this strip doing? Remember, anything you place inside double quotes is treated as a string data type. In string data type in Python, we have a strip function that we discussed yesterday, where it will remove the space before the string, and after the string it will remove the space, that is left space and right side space between the strings it will remove. And after removing that one, I want to use a replace, where I want to replace that, that rupee symbol. I want to replace that rupee symbol with an empty nothing. I don't want it. I want to replace that rupee symbol with nothing. Nothing meaning it will remove that and it will not add anything new there. And then I want to replace that particular comma, whatever I am having, with nothing. If I'm giving nothing, that will only remove that comma and that rupee symbol, and it will directly give you one thing, it will give you a value of 1299.00. it will give you this value. So after doing this one, I am storing it into a variable, clean. Okay. Now when I'm trying to do that one, first it will remove the space, then it will replace that rupee symbol and remove it, then replace the comma symbol and it will remove it, and you can get the actual value like this. And after that what I'm trying to do here is, I'm trying to convert that number whatever I have received into a float number, and then I want to store it into an actual amount. It will do all these things. And the amount whatever we are having now, it is in 129,000, sorry, 1299, and the date for and the type of that particular amount, we can clearly see it is in the format of float only. Now where this is useful in our data analysis project, let's understand that one. Okay, so let's say why useful. Okay, now when data has currency signs or extra spaces, definitely in the real world, when you're dealing with the currencies data, you will definitely see currency symbols and extra spaces. Definitely you need to do this operation. Only then you can make some numerical operations to this number. Otherwise it will be difficult. When data has a currency signs or extra spaces, what we need to do here is, we have to clean and then convert to we have to clean and then convert to number. So this is very, very important. Only then we will be able to make some meaningful insight in the data. The next and the last important thing what we are going to discuss today is called as, we want to convert convert the text data into Boolean. We want to convert the text data into Boolean. Remember, the Boolean has only two values. One is called as true, another is called as false. Now, without any delay, let us understand when do we call it as true and when do we call it as false. Boolean of 0. You have to be in a position to answer this one. Bool of 0 is what? 0 internally in Python, it is represented as false. Remember this one clearly. 0 internally in Python, it is represented as false. So bool of 0 is always false. Okay. What is bool of 1? Bool of 1. Remember, in Python, apart from bool 0, everything else numerical value is true. So in this case, bool 1 or any other number apart from 0 will be treated as true in Python. Next thing, what is empty string? Remember, anything in empty string in Boolean, in Python Boolean, we call that as a false. Empty string, there is no value inside it. It is empty string, then it becomes false. Okay. And the next important thing here is bool of high. This is not an empty string. Some value is present inside the string. So any non-empty string will become a true value. So this you need to be in a position to understand. Only when you understand this, only when you understand this, you will be able to make a lot of understanding you will be able to derive. Okay. Now, why do we need this one? Why do we need this? Let's put it in one simple example. Why is this useful? Why is this useful? Let me place a question. Now, why is this useful? Say, suppose, you are working on a survey data. The survey data might have answers like yes, no, or sometimes it might have answers like, feedback like 1 or 0. So all these yes, no, or 1 or 0 should be mapped to true or false for filtering. Only then you will be able to derive some insights from that particular table. For that reason, you can convert this text into a Boolean conversion. Boolean type conversion is useful. Survey data. Let me write. Survey data has responses like responses like yes. It might have responses like a no. It might have responses like one, or it might have responses like a 0. So all these data can be mapped to either true or false for filtering, so that we can make meaningful decisions from this one. Okay. So let's see, take one code example and then we can stop here. Let's say we are having a text variable, and the text variable is having a string data in it. String data is yes. String data is there, and that is yes. Now, the next thing what I'm trying to do here is, since it is a string data, I'm trying to strip and remove the spaces in between, before s and after s. Since it is not there, even if you are using strip also, it will try to not make any changes because there is no space, so it will keep it as it is. And now if you can see here, the y is in capital, and all the remaining characters in that yes string are in lowercase. Now if I'm using lower to that one, it will make sure all the characters in that yes string will be turned to a lower. So I will try to store that into a variable by name, modified. Now when I'm trying to print modified, print modified, you will be able to see that yes is which is having that y as an uppercase is being converted into lowercase, and all the characters in the string have been made into lowercase. This is one classical example where we are trying to make some changes to the string data type and try to convert the uppercase into a lowercase. And the next important thing what we can see here is, now in the if the modified has this yes, okay, the variable modified has the value yes, which is in lowercase. Now I want to check whether that modified yes is present inside this particular set data type. Say example, in the last class I told you set data type is represented in curly braces. So we are trying to see whether that modified, that small yes, yes, which is in lowercase, is present inside this set data type or not, data type or not. Now I am trying to, I have inside that set data, I'm having small yes, I'm having y, and I'm having true, and then I'm having 1. I'm trying to say that whether this modified variable that is holding the value small s is present inside the set data type. If it is present, it should return a value true. It should return a value true. So that value I'm trying to store it into a variable by name is member. Now when I'm trying to print is member, it will say that, yes, that value is present inside that small modified lowercase yes is present inside the set data type. So that value true will be inside is member, and when I print it, I'll be able to get that answer. Okay, this is one small example about how we can use string and how we can convert it, and how whatever we have studied in the last class I've said also I've tried to use it. Now I'll try to give one small assignment. Try to see whether if you can do it. If you're not able to do it, no worries. Tomorrow in the next class I'll try to complete this one. Convert this 5. Remember, anything which if I'm giving you inside single quotes or double quotes, Python will treat that as a string data type. I want to convert this string data type into numbers and do some, you have to calculate the total. Okay, so convert string 5 and 10.1 string 5 into numbers, into numbers, and calculate total, and calculate total. Okay, this is first assignment, and try to clean and convert this rupee symbol and 2,049.50 into a float, okay, this is a second assignment. And then try to map this list is having, we are having list of list yes, and then you are having a value no inside it, there is another element no inside it, and then there is a value 1 inside it, and then there is a value 0 inside it. So you need to convert all these things into true or false boolean value you need to convert. So the list yes, it is anything inside a string data, anything inside the string data. If at all it is a non-string, if it is an empty string, only then it is false. So this is string, anything represented in single quotes or double quotes, it's string. So this will be true. This will also be true. Even though it is no, it is some value, it is present inside single quotes or double quotes, it will be treated as it is non-empty string. It will be returned as true. This one also will be represented, it is still representing as a value, so it will return true only. And this one should also return true because it is a string data type which is having double quotes in it. So double quotes only if it is an empty string, it will return false, otherwise it will all return true. So in this case it will return all true. But try to run this program, execute it by yourself, and try to see how it is responding. And if you have any doubts not able to solve, in tomorrow's class I will help you solve it. Okay, thank you guys.